Good evening. Thank you for joining us on Weekend File. Our apologies there for the interruption of the ongoing PDP National Convention happening in Ibadan. Of course, we'll keep you updated with proceedings as they unfold. In the meantime, while the PDP members are trying to invest for new leaders for the National Working Committee, it is harvest time again. I'm talking bumper harvest this time across the country. And good news, prices of food items have dropped significantly. Families are reclaiming hope in the market prices as they experience a measure of relief as food prices continue to decline across major markets. Now this, many say, is already easing household strain. Some economists attribute this recent development to certain factors, from seasonal harvest to improved supply chains and targeted government interventions. In addition, statistical base effects and the National Bureau of Statistics' recent rebasing of its inflation basket to better reflect actual consumption trends have also contributed to the fall in food prices, particularly in the northern and middle belt areas. The harvest season increased the availability of foods, therefore elevating market pressures. There are different sides to the coin, though. Reports say some farmers are not happy with the situation. On the flip side, consumers are happy, and some vendors in some markets are not reflecting the drop in prices. Well, as the federal government continues to push its interventions in ensuring food security and agricultural sustainability across the country, there are concerns for sustainability of these efforts. So tonight, on Weekend File, the conversation will focus on the fallen food prices, the harvest paradox. Our guest is Dr. Austin Maduka, founder and chairman, Community Allied Farmers Association of Nigeria. We'll bring you situation reports from across the country, of course. Once again, thank you for joining us. I'm Ruth Aguele. Now, before exploring the crashing food prices, let's begin with latest developments across the country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assured that his government will continue to work towards achieving sustainable peace in Plateau State and the country. President Tinubu stated this in a message to the defection of political bigwigs from other parties to the APC in Jos. Indeyang Adeyaba Gyang reports.
It was a gathering of APC party stalwarts across Nigeria who converged on the polo field to receive defectors from PDP, Labour Party, PRP, ADC and NNPP. Among the defectors are Lateb Dabang, the Director General Campaign for PDP during the 2023 elections, along with former Senator Stephanus Gyang, Dr. Patrick Dakum, governorship candidate for Labour Party, with current member House of Reps Daniel Asama, Alfred Dabwan, governorship candidate of the NNPP, and others from PRP and ADC along with their supporters. They were received into the APC by the national chairman of the APC, Professor Nentawe Yilwada. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, represented by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, described the defectors as political bigwigs that will bring about the needed change in the state.
We are calling on God Almighty to help us at the center to bring peace to the plateau. Any person that wants to rule plateau must be somebody committed to peace.
We have enough manpower that can win the central zone, can win the southern zone, can win the northern zone, and win emphatically.
Coming to APC will now be to cause the progress so that every labor we have done will not be in vain.
This is a moment that we have arisen as a people to stand with Mr. President.
They promised to mobilize the grassroots ahead of 2027 elections in Jos, Indeyang and Abuja, NTA News.
The People's Democratic Party has expelled Ayo Fayoshe, Yesam Wike, Samuel Anyanwu, and 7 others over anti-party activities and breach of party constitution. The report.
The 2025 elective National Convention of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) underway, the the party has taken a bold step in what the party leaders described as the PDP's effort to rebuild ahead of future national contests. The motion, which was unanimously accepted, saw the official expulsion of the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, former Governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose, Samuel Anyanwu, and 7 others over anti-party activities and breach of the party's constitution.
We are holding this convention. You can see the atmosphere of happiness, exhilaration, and politicking. We are here to deepen democracy. Without PDP and other opposition parties, there is no democracy.
The party has also dissolved the Imo, Abia, Plateau, Enugu, Rivers State Executive Council. With the absence of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the party moved to continue with the conduct of the election under the provision of the party's constitution. Meanwhile, in the interim, the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party, under the leadership of Senator Adolphus Wabara, has endorsed the conduct of the convention while rejecting a purported report of the BOT Reconciliation Committee recently being circulated in some sections of the media with regards to suggestions for a caretaker committee for the party.
The federal government has flagged off the 2025 to 2026 wheat dry season famine in Borno State, targeting 80,000 farmers across 16 states. The initiative is expected to inject more than 100 billion naira we hear into the nation's economy. Musa Baba Ali reports.
This is Jere, one of the agricultural communities in Borno State. It boasts vast arable land suitable for year-round farming activities. The community hosted the flag-off of the 2025-2026 wheat farming. The program falls under the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro-Pocket Initiative, jointly financed by the federal government of Nigeria and the African Development Bank. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, and the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, jointly flagged off the commencement of the program. 80,000 farmers who will cultivate 40,000 hectares of wheat are being supported with inputs at subsidized prices.
For the current 2025-2026 season, the program is targeting 80,000 registered farmers with an expected output value of approximately 160 billion naira.
Borno State is expected to cultivate 3,000 hectares through 6,000 farmers. The state governor stated that farmers are benefiting from the available security protection and are returning to their farms.
Here in Borno State, wood cultivation is not just a program. It is a transformative initiative through targeted investment in irrigation, mechanization, quality inputs and extension services. The
event here is not just a ceremony, but a clear indication that security and stability are gradually returning to farming communities, and Nigeria is advancing towards self-sufficiency in wheat. From Jere, local government area of Borno State, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force air component of the Joint Task Force of Operation Fasang Yamma has achieved a major operational breakthrough following air interdiction missions conducted at the Sauri bandit camp in Safe local government area of Zamfara State. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ehimen Ejodame, indicates that the mission was undertaken after comprehensive intelligence and surveillance operations confirmed significant terrorist activity and rustled livestock concealed on a high-ground hideout used by the criminals as both a defensive position and a logistics hub. Acting on this intelligence, the air component executed multiple coordinated strike passes on the identified targets, achieving direct hits that dislodged surviving terrorists attempting to flee into surrounding vegetation, where they were subsequently tracked and effectively engaged. In a related development, troops of 25 Task Force Brigade on routine patrol to secure communities around Damboa local government area of Borno State came under a sudden insurgent fire while returning from a successful patrol within the fringes of Sambisa forest. The patrol team, which was led by the Commander, 25 Brigade, Brigadier General M. Uba, and comprised troops of 25 Task Force Brigade and members of Civilian Joint Task Force courageously fought through the insurgents' ambush with superior firepower, forcing them to withdraw in disarray and to abandon their mission. A statement by Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Apollinia Anele, says during the encounter, 2 brave soldiers and 2 heroic civilian Joint Task Force members paid the supreme prize while on active service to the nation. While commending the troops for their gallantry, the Army High Command commiserates with families and associates of the deceased officers for their heroic sacrifice to the nation. The Army headquarters debunks the fake narrative going round in some media platforms alleging the abduction of the Brigadier Commander. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Wadi Shaibu, Nigerian Army Medal, salutes the uncommon bravery, resilience and sacrifice of the gallant troops who have continued to operate in one of the most dangerous theaters of conflict on behalf of the nation. Nigeria's efforts in addressing security challenges and troubled spots across the country is yielding results and recognition of international communities. Well, this is coming as the International Human Rights Protection Service commended the progress achieved through the support of unconventional security forces like the Civilian Joint Task Force. The organization said Nigeria is doing great and needs to deploy more technologies in confronting the common enemies that are disturbing the hard-earned peace and stability of the people and governance.
When we ginger us more to do what we've been doing more to protect life and properties in Nigeria. We are going to use, through rules and regulations, to protect our people, bring law and order more to Nigeria and West Africa.
The Chairman Civilian Joint Task Force, Professor Kailani, appealed for support and cooperation for all tiers and arms of government to crush these terrorists in their hideouts. In honor of the late Professor Okello Okuli, students of Anglican Girls Grammar School, Abuja, hosted a vibrant simulation of the African Union Summit of Heads of States. Gofan Shajungwai reports.
With the lively drama festival featuring SCT schools who presented humorous, unique interpretations of the theme, promoting African values, inclusiveness and knowledge acquisition in the era of artificial intelligence.
Witchcraft?
Yes, sir. Witchcraft in our community. The witchcraft is flying in the air. Hey, my queen, this is not a strange bed and this is not witchcraft. This is an example of artificial intelligence.
AGGS students stepped into presidential roles, delivering compelling solutions to their nation's challenges.
As chairperson, I would like to see an Africa where we embrace artificial intelligence and not lose human intelligence that binds us.
The event also paid tribute to Professor Okello Okuli's legacy, reflecting on his enduring contributions.
My father was the original convener and it has been taken up by his wife. The essence of this program is to ensure that children, or as we see, ladies, are able to stand up for themselves.
The girl child as the woman is not a positioned gene for setback, but rather a leadership gene.
It's a program where people are supposed to imbibe knowledge about Africa's human resources and how these resources can be utilized by the leaders for the development of each of these nations of Africa.
As Nigeria looks to the future, events like this nurture the next generation of leaders, The day closed with hope that the spirit of Professor Okuli's vision lives on in every bold idea, every voice, and every girl leading the way. In Abuja, Kufan Shaji Ogwanyi, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu congratulates his political ally and friend, Tanko Umar Al-Mukura, on his 73rd birthday. Al-Mukura, a two-term governor of Nasarawa State and a chieftain of the APC, is the chairman of the Universal Basic Education Commission. He also represented Nasarawa South Senatorial District from 2019 to 2023. President Tinubu lauds Senator Al-Mukura for his public-spirited ventures as a politician and much earlier as a businessman and philanthropist. The president recalls Al-Mukura's sweeping victory as an opposition candidate for the Nasarawa governorship in 2011 and his leading role in the events that led to the merger that gave birth to the APC in 2013. President Tinubu thanked the former governor for his services to the country, his statesmanship and dependability as a politician. So the business of course, they have its paradox, and falling food prices will be our conversation, but that will come after the break, so stay tuned.
The beating heart of Owerri, business never.
Thank you for staying tuned. Nigerians are witnessing a decline in food inflation, affecting nearly all varieties of agricultural produce and products. Now, while the government and consumers welcome this development, farmers are suffering losses as the current market prices of their produce fall below production cost. In this report, Musa Baba Aliyu examines government policies and their impact on commodity prices.
This is what a typical market in Nigeria looks like. An informal marketplace that serves as the primary source of food sourced directly from farms. It is the key center where inflation is gauged as high or low based on consumer reactions. These markets rely heavily on farmers and middlemen who buy directly from producers and supply the markets. Surveys indicate that informal commodity markets are experiencing high supply of produce, including grains such as beans and tubers. This has led to a nationwide drop in their prices. For instance, in just 9 months, food inflation fell by 9.2 percentage points from 26.08% in January 2025 to 16.87% in September 2025. Bringing a greater stability to food prices. The Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security confirmed that the federal government's policies and programs have played a major role in reducing food prices. The ministry noted that despite weather, social and economic challenges in rural farming communities, food production increased by about 5% during the 2025 wet season. However, farmers complained that current market prices of their produce are discouraging. They said an average farmer spends around 1.2 million to produce 20 bags of maize, yet a bag is currently selling for only 35,000 naira. When contacted, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, stated that the federal government will provide incentives to support farmers and offset the high cost of fertilizer. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Well, after months of soaring costs, residents of Lagos are beginning to breathe a sigh of relief owing to the reduction in the prices of some food items, an indication that respite is underway for households. Lynn Leneke, who visited some major markets in Lagos, reports that traders and buyers commend the federal government for the intervention.
A survey around some major markets in Lagos showed that staple food prices have dropped drastically as a result of several factors, which include improved supplies from harvesters, fewer hoarding practices, and general stabilization in certain sectors.
We regulate our market to make sure that we do not allow any one of our vendors or traders to increase prices of commodities arbitrarily. So there are check and balances.
If the amount they are now going to be spending on food has reduced, it means that they have more money to consume other goods and services. So that will stimulate demand for other goods and services within the economy.
Truly, the price has gone down. Because this time last year, we sold a bag of onion, the dry one, 320,000. That was last year. And this year now, we are selling 180, 160,000.
This story is, however, not without challenges, as this food vendor is calling for improved security in producing states to aid food sufficiency.
Calling on federal government to still do more. The remaining roads that have not been fixing, are not being repaired. They should be repaired so that food items will be delivered instantly without delay.
Despite the overall reduction, prices of some items like tomatoes have remained high.
The one where I go there now, where I price that, they tell me 60,000 at last. I come out there.
It is hoped that with the drop in prices of foodstuff, which has been described by many Lagos residents as a positive development, remains, and that families, businesses, and everyday market goers will be able to enjoy the dividends of democracy as promised by the present administration to ease economic burden. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
So let's bring in our guests. We have in the studio Dr. Austin Maduka. He is the founder and chairman, Community Allied Farmers Association of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Maduka.
Thank you, Ruth, for having me. Good evening, Nigerians.
Always a pleasure. When you look at the indices playing out, striking the balance becomes key. Based on the previous report we saw, farmers not getting the desired yield, from the cost of production, even though we're seeing the interventions by the federal government, and the result is the crash in food prices. How would you assess all of this?
Usually by this time of the year, prices are usually going down because most farmers are harvesting. This is harvesting period for grain, mostly in the northern part of Nigeria, and usually by this time of the year, the prices usually go down. So we cannot just rely on that to completely say that food prices have gone down because this period now, mostly in the north, people are harvesting maize, people are harvesting beans, people are harvesting all manner of grains. And when they harvest, some of these farmers, some collect loan from their cooperative society, some collect loan from family and friends, and they need to pay back. So they need to sell whatever they can get to pay back what they have collected as support to aid their farming. So usually this period is a peak period for fresh foods, and usually it's like that annually. So food prices annually by this time usually go down with intervention or without intervention. Farmers are always at this period harvesting and selling to make back, pay back what they've collected. And two, with some of the initiative that most people have adopted, especially the sack bag farming. Most families have farmed behind their backyards. The backyard farming initiative and what have you have also assisted in bringing, prices of these things down, very, very down. Because if you look at the tubers, for instance, most families, if you go now behind their compound, you see 20, 30, 50, 100 bags, sack bags, people have, planted yams. And so definitely prices must go down without intervention.
Yes, if that's your opinion, Dr. Maduka, but based on reports we're seeing, the interventions are also yielding results. But I'd like to know from your perspective now, we're seeing, support, to these smallholder farmers, and we're seeing the disparity in some sections. How can all these interventions be sustained, going by the results we want to see play out?
Actually, the government has done well in terms of interventions, but how many farmers really benefited from the interventions? That is the question we should be asking. Governments annually support farmers, but how many of these farmers assess these interventions? And I know in the last administration we have the Anko Brass program, and the sustainability is a problem. If this government has intervened and supported farmers, what is the likelihood that after this administration that all these policies will be sustained? It's not about now, it's about looking at the future, what the farmers and the households will face in the next 2 years, because annually governments intervene. But the intervention is not enough, looking at the inputs that the government usually subsidize. It's mostly seed, and then seed is not the only thing the farmers...
Even fertilizer.
The fertilizer is very, very... it's not affordable this season. The urea and the NPK, that is one of the major components of the farming agrochemical that the farmers use, is very expensive. But thank God some of our partners, our friends, who have introduced the organic fertilizer that has also reduced the prices of the synthetic fertilizer, and that have also helped. But sincerely, the intervention has not really gotten down to the downtrodden, especially the locals. We know that the government is trying, the government is providing interventions, but the interventions have not really gotten, to majority of the smallholder farmers who are those that have been feeding us as a nation.
Okay, Dr. Maduka, we'll continue the conversation. Let's take a break. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. Despite a bumper harvest, farmers in Kano and across northern Nigeria are counting their losses as the price of grains tumble. The crash is exposing deeper challenges from post-harvest waste to poor storage and fragile market networks. Yohana Suhasan takes us to Dawano Grain Market. Let's see that.
At a glance, it looks like at good times in Kano markets, grains everywhere and prices dropping fast. But behind the abundance lies a silent worry among those who tilled the soil. For Malam Idris Fajankau, a smallholder farmer from Bunkure, what should have been a season of joy has turned into frustration.
We bought fertilizer at a very high cost. Government should come to our aid.
At Dawano market, the price of maize has dropped by almost half. Millet now sells between 32,000 to 35,000 naira per bag, and sorghum sells around 33,000 naira, while cowpeas now sells at 60 to 65,000 naira as against 95,000 naira a few months ago.
What is produced locally constitutes a majority of what people eat. So I think government should do all it could to encourage farmers by investing in agriculture, investing in the inputs, investing in companies that can be able to process this, and maybe establishing marketing boards that can be able to buy things from farmers at harvesting season and then be able to sell it not for profit.
I know that the federal government have actually issued out a kind of support of about 2 million bags of fertilizer to smallholder farmers.
As consumers celebrate cheaper food, farmers like Idris are counting their losses, a paradox of plenty that questions how well Nigeria's agricultural system rewards its backbone. In Kano, Yohana Sahasambaro, NTA News.
So it's already been established that it is harvest season, and in Enugu, our correspondent Grace Wilson Izzy sought to know, or rather to find out, if there are processing and storage facilities that could absorb excess produce for the rainy days, and how the final consumer in Enugu benefits from the glut of produce in the state.
And other parts of the southeast, perishable goods such as vegetables, tomatoes, cassava and yam are in high supply now, but the demand for these commodities are quite low, a situation some consumers blame on low purchasing power. orchestrated by present economic realities in the country.
With a lot of interventions, a lot of aids to support the farmers by that project. So that has really led to a massive increase in cassava and the rice production within that value chain that the project is intervening in.
Have harvest growth and all that, but we pray that what we have now is that farmers will be encouraged more to go to farm. That is why we have incentives from the government, soft loans and credit facilities to cushion this kind of effect that we have.
Lack of processing and storage facilities in the region has been identified as a major setback.
Many people got involved in production. There is massive bumper harvest to say, and some of these food items are perishable, and we have limited processing or storage facilities.
Admittedly, prices of food commodities have crashed tremendously at the point of production, but with little impact at the point of delivery. In Enugu, Chris Wilson, Eze, NTA News.
All right, Dr. Maduka, the major concern from those reports we've seen is, having access, now I'm talking about the farmers, to, innovative storage facilities, ways they could be able to store this produce we're seeing go to waste. What would you recommend?
The major challenge we have is the area of what is it called, storage facilities. We have silos across the states, but some of these silos have not been working. Some are moribund, and the government need to seriously look at that direction of intervening, in the area of food storage, which is a major challenge. Like the perishable items they mentioned, like tomato, the veggies, and what have you, like the root and tuber, the cassava, the yam, which is about 75% water content. If those things are not processed, it may go bad at the time you want to make use of them. So it's important that government create an enabling environment and also bring in private investors to create facilities for where people can store these things. I don't want to advertise for anybody, but presently we are discussing with one of the commercial banks in Nigeria to see how we can set up mobile facilities where people can store their grains, and then those grains can also stand as collateral for them, in terms of accessing facilities, to support their agricultural needs. So those kind of interventions, if government and private individuals can come together to collaborate, to see how more facilities can be, created in some of these farming communities where you have these farmers producing in large quantities and value are not added. Because like tomato now, between now and January, you will see that the tomatoes that we have, these tomatoes that we are seeing now, that is in abundance, will not be there again. Now, currently, tomato is like, if you smile, they give you a basket of tomato. But between now and January, it will not be as we are witnessing now, because it will disappear.
Okay, I hope that when the youth had come, we go to the market and we smell, we get a basket of tomato for free, like you suggested.
True, and we are encouraging farmers and families to go back to our days of farming behind our various backyards.
Okay.
Like now, most of the farmers have some of these things in their various homes.
So, Dr. Maduka, the concern here, what about the role of the subnational, talking about state governments? How can they come in while the federal government is playing its role? What can they also do to bridge these gaps we're talking about?
Most of the states, especially in the north, I've seen what the governor of Jigawa is doing. He's really doing wonderful. Also, I've seen what the governor of Enugu is doing. A lot of intervention is taking place in those states. And then some other governors. I've also seen the governor, I think, of Ekiti, of recent, what he's doing. The challenge there is most of these government support programs are not too publicized in a manner that people who are supposed to know about these things are not aware. And then when people are not aware of any program or any government policy, it becomes difficult to implement. So the government, I think the National Orientation Agency and the Ministry of Information should assist this government, to speak more of what the government is doing. And at the state level, the state commissioners of information and the state orientation agency should assist in speaking more of what the government is doing, because if people are not informed, they will be deformed.
And associations like yours, do they work in synergy to help these farmers directly get access to this information?
Yeah, on a little way we are doing that. We have a lot of channels where we communicate with our farmers. Currently, I don't also want to advertise for anybody. Currently, we are also working with the microfinance bank to see how we can also support them with little intervention, and then also support them with modern technology. Most of them have been trained in various sectors of the value chain of the agri-commodity. And then if there's any information, we have WhatsApp groups, we have Facebook pages, we have LinkedIn, we have different methods of these channels, in disseminating information to our members across the 36 states and FCT. And then we have umbrella bodies like the AFAN and the FACAN. Some of these umbrellas have various commodity associations coming together at the national level.
Okay, Dr. Austin Maduka, I'm sure Nigerians just want to see this momentum sustained, talking about the fall in food prices. Thank you very much for coming on Weekend File. We do appreciate, and keep doing what you're doing from your end.
Thank you, Ruth, for having me, and thank you, NTA, and good night, Nigeria.
All right, so let's take a break. You want to check out your own bumper? Let's do that.
Guys, food is ready.
Cook to impress. Good, tasty food is worth living for. Worried about your oil every time you enjoy your favorite meal? Introducing Smart Balance. Smart Balance Rice Bran Oil is rich in Gamma Original. Golden Terra Smart Balance Oil reduces bad cholesterol.
Food sufficiency and stimulus for sustainability with inflationary pressure on cost of production. That is our conversation on NTA Tuesday Live, coming up on the 18th of November 2025. Experts will deliberate on affordable food price in the country, plus strategies to interrogate farming inputs, chemicals, fertilizers, storage, and addressing post-harvest losses. These and more on NTA Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Tuesday Live, incisive and educative as ever. Join us.
Thank you for staying tuned. And reports just reaching us says Adamawa State Governor and Chairman of the People's Democratic Party 2025 Elective National Convention, Ahmadu Fintiri, has disassociated himself from the position of PDP, expelling the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, from the People's Democratic Party. The statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Humwashi Wonosikao, says Governor Fintiri sees the decision as not in the best interest of the party and will not be party to any attempt that could further plunge the PDP into an unending crisis. All right, sports update is next, and Ayo Deji is set to give us all the details. Ayo, are you still basking in the euphoria?
Well, a little bit, but one more match to go before the showdown in Mexico next year. Well, welcome to sports. The Super Eagles concluded training session ahead of their crucial FIFA World Cup final playoff match against the Leopards of DR Congo. All players are available for selection, easing concerns that Wilfred Ndidi might miss the match due to a yellow card received against Gabon. CAF announced on Saturday that any cautions received during the group phase will not carry over into the playoffs. The Super Eagles had on Thursday defeated Gabon 4-1 in extra time to set up clash against Congo in Rabat, Morocco. Now, Congo enters this match following a 1-0 victory over Cameroon. Now, since 1994, Nigeria has missed qualification for the World Cup twice, in 2006 and in 2022, and are working towards another appearance at the Mundial next year in USA, Canada, and Mexico. Elsewhere, Bendel Insurance produced the late comeback to stun Kano Pillars 3-2 in Benin in the only match day 13 of the Nigeria Premier Football League decided on Saturday. Solomon OK opened scoring for Insurance in the 16th minute before ageless forward Rabiu Ali converted from the spot in the 34th minute. Chiedozie Okori edged Pillars in front for a first-half lead. However, the Benin Gunners turned up in the second half through Emmanuel Dun and an 87th minute winner from Emmanuel Akman for all 3 points. 8 matches are lined up for Sunday as inconsistent Remo Stars travel to Shooting Stars in the Southwest Derby in Ibadan, while league leaders Nasarawa United take on Kun Khalifat FC, just as in-form Abia Warriors hope to impress against Bayelsa United. Now let's talk about our profession a little bit, where about 32 table tennis players from within and outside Nigeria participated in this year's China NUJ table tennis tournament in Abuja, aimed at strengthening ties between the Chinese and Nigerians. The event served off with the exchange of rackets between the Director General of NTA, Salihu Dembos, represented by the General Manager NTA Sports, Kayode Adeniyi, and the Director of the China Cultural Center of Nigeria, Yan Jianxin, as winners emerged in different categories. In the women's category, Nigeria's Chioma Amajo clinched gold medal with a hard-fought 2-1 win over China's Nie Hao. In the men's category, China's He Ling won gold with 2 straight wins over Wang Yongtao. Meanwhile, NTA's Ignatius Onkwo became the highest-ranked Nigerian player in the 2025 edition of the tournament and the only player from NTA to have won 2 separate medals in one tournament.
I know I'm so happy. I've been expecting this all the while that we've been playing.
Table tennis will make a great contribution for Nigeria and our Chinese people.
I expected to have gone further this time around and winning a bronze medal. But however, I'm excited because I know many of us started and many of us did not go beyond.
Well, congratulations to all the winners, and that's your sports. It's back to Ruth.
Many thanks, Ayo, for that. President Bola Tinubu led a delegation to commiserate with the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekperipo Ekpo, on the occasion of his mother-in-law's burial in Akwa Ibom State. The president described Madam Magdalene Uduakman as an integral part of the minister's family, a steady source of strength, wisdom, and warmth, whose love and compassion will long be remembered by all who knew her.
Extended sincere sympathies to the minister and his family, recognizing their loss and offering comfort in this difficult time. For Ekperipo Ekpo, the delegation cutting across the country underscored the unity and solidarity of the nation, emphasizing support and prayers for strength and peace. The convergence of top government officials reflects the administration's commitment to standing with its officials in moments of personal sorrow, demonstrating the spirit of compassion that binds Nigeria's leadership and people. Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Tomorrow, November 16, is International Day for Tolerance, a dedicated moment to reaffirm the collective commitment to peaceful coexistence, dialogue, and diversity in society. The day also highlights combating hate speech. The United Nations urges governments, schools, and individuals to reflect on building bridges between cultures and addressing challenges to peaceful coexistence. The International Day for Tolerance 2025 is expected to continue promoting dialogue, empathy, an active respect for differences, fundamental values for peace and human development. Of course, that's the one way we can thrive as a society. And that's Weekend File. Thank you for being part of it. Do have a good night rest. I'm Ruth Aguele.
Dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day. NTA International